So Andrew, we just saw a video that introduced tailored fit pricing. Can you share the challenges we were trying to address when we created tailored fit pricing?
Sure. So first thing to say is we have observed our clients' workloads are changing, particularly the profile of the workloads that they're running. Existing workloads are changing. They're becoming predominantly more spikier. Okay? The peaks that they require to deliver on service level agreements are hitting higher peaks than ever before. And I think we would all know that's the impact of digital, that's the impact of external transactions coming in. And whilst the technology can handle that brilliantly, perfectly, commercially, that is an uncomfortable place to be if you're being charged at the peaks reached in a subcapacity pricing model, in other words. So that was one thing we were very, very focused on when we were developing what we saw on the video. We also wanted to make sure that growth was persisting and of course future. And probably the third thing I ought to mention is an answer which IBMers frequently used to give when a customer would say to us, Mark or Andrew, how much would this cost to grow this existing in a new world? How much to put this new workload on? Our answer is to create a price predictability. We wanted to create a lot of simplicity across our software pricing. And really, to sum it up in terms of transparency, that's what we were really focused on.
Sounds like some pretty ambitious challenges that we were trying to take on there. Yep. Tell us a little bit about what tailored fit pricing does to tackle those challenges.
Yeah, so we've developed a couple of solutions, as you saw here. I'm going to just mention a couple of things around the consumption solution in particular, because that's a very, very new model for on-premise. Make available to our clients the option to pay not for the peaks reached. Remember those challenges of the peaks getting higher and higher and higher, but rather for the amount of work done. That will then give you a commercial confidence to expose your applications or put new applications. You're just going to pay now for the actual amount of processing done. That's a key thing. And through that comes that predictability.
Has a new workload and they want to consider putting it on the Z platform, we can give them with confidence a estimate of what that's going to be.
Correct.
Going forward.
Yes, so we're working with a client in the UK actually, which is they have an application which they run occasionally. They would love to run more, but it impacts significantly their monthly billing. In this new model, we are able to give a very precise price on what that workload will be, and then you're straight does. We've got a very precise point of pricing, and it's given them a lot of confidence.
I know that this has taken off throughout our customer base very aggressively. I've been blown away by how quickly it's been adopted so far. Can you give us just one example of a customer that's been able to take advantage of this and benefit from it?
So we ran a pilot, but how much processing that is. Remember what I said about the consumption pricing, where we charge not to the peak reach, but to just the amount of work done. And if you move to that new mindset, you can take away the notion of capping. What I mean by capping is you have a machine, and it makes no sense to cap any longer when we're charging for consumption for the amount of work being done. And so Fiducia were one of those early adopters. Capping off meant they were able to expose or throw all of their own capacity at that batch window, and it now completes at 4 a.m. Okay, so about 25% or 2.5 hours off the elapsed time of the batch window. Complete business value for the clients to have everything completed that much earlier. And how much extra did it cost? Well, nothing. Because remember, they're now paying for the amount of work being processed rather than the peaks being reached. So a complete shift, a fabulous outcome of consumption pricing, taking away caps, and online response times as well, of course, benefited as well.
Aggressive shifts that we made in software pricing in the history of our platform. I would encourage all of you to spend some time in the expo with Andrew and others to learn more about it. I think it really has the opportunity to revolutionize the thinking about what costs are on the mainframe and how you manage that as a customer. It's an incredible pricing model and a great step forward. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.